each other for years, okay, because we're in the public school sector. And so when I retired, and I'm sitting on the board of the Polk County Historical Society, and Jane's sitting there, and I'm like, I know her from somewhere, whatever, we saw each other from somewhere. But I realized just how valuable this woman is. And I know Lakeisha Gibbs knows her value too, because I think you've done some work with Jane, right? Yes, okay. Now, one of the first things Jane came to me with, she said, Sherry, I am collecting funeral programs. I am collecting African American funeral programs. So for those of you who came late into the program, just a heads up. Back in the day, there was no publication of African American obituaries, not in the newspapers, okay? And so it became real popular in the 20s and 30s to do a program for a funeral. And that's why they become so elaborate now. That's why funeral home directors will hold on to them. They ain't let them go because folks be begging for double copies. I'm a collector, okay? I collect them, all right? And I noticed that some of y'all noticed, talk to your grandparents, they're collecting them. You're going to discover about funeral home programs. Jane's going to talk a little bit about it. She has already set up a database. She's going to share with you all kinds of great things. She's going to talk about the resources that's on this floor. And how to get started in your own genealogy. Miss Jane Thompson.
I brought Arthur and Bert with me, so it takes me a minute.
Arthur. I hear you.
I don't know how I'm gonna follow this. This library started at Hawks over on College Street. It started in 2018 after I got there. I had been telling them for years, please let me have these books. I want to organize them. And I'm OCD on organization. So we got them organized and got everything set up. We go by just about maybe 7 different categories. We have, of course, the African Americans. We've got, and I've given you, there's a handout sheet here with about 3 pages of the books that we have here. So, I think you'll see them. It says, Polk County Historical Genealogical Research Library, African American Books. And it's front and back. Well, it's 2 pages. No, it is. It's 3 pages. And I tried to get as many different kinds of books as I could. Research, families, everything like that. And I'll ask you too, if you know of a book that this library should have, please leave the name with me, or with Sherry, or with Ellen over here. Leave it where it can be bought and we can add it to that. A lot of these books are in research, they're in family biographies, things like that. So, I mean, I'm not going to bore you with reading all the names of the books, but the other books we have are counties. One of the goals that we've got is for every county in Georgia, we want to have a book, and I think we've got every one but maybe 40 counties out of 150, 159, 7 or 9. I've been out of school too long.
Oh, the number of counties, 154.
Okay. I've been retired 22 years.
Yeah, and we usually use the 154.
But a lot of this, you'll find a lot of help with these books here. when you start your research, and I've been doing African American research for maybe about 2 years now. I mean, it was like, all of a sudden, it was like the water just broke, and everybody was, you know, sending messages to the, for research. So, got to know Katrina, and we found that cemetery. It's called Pegamore Cemetery. It's up on Brownsville Mountain. Wow. We had just found out that it does not belong to the management area. It belongs to one of the logging companies up there. And we have been up there. Katrina and her mom went with us. And I'm a member of cemetery preservation. So, and Miss Marilyn was a member with us for a while. We had her reunion, and have things for her reunion, and I recognize, you know, a lot of the other people here. But when you start out, one of the best things to do is, like they've already mentioned, start with yourself and work backward. Write down who you are, everything you know about yourself, your mama, your daddy. Ask them if they're still, you know, living or whatever. That's how I started. And go backwards with it. Collect as much as you can. The tape recorder, wonderful. Write down questions that you want to ask these people. Family reunions, have those where people will, you know, carry there's some research papers in here too. Carry them with you. Have them fill them out. When I started, I would mail them to the people and send a self-addressed stamped envelope with it, you know, to try to get them. And so, and then one thing about me is I'm adopted. So, that was something. I never wondered about my parents, my biological parents, because I had a wonderful, loving mom and dad. And then when they passed on, and I started having health problems, it was like, okay, well, I found my biological mother. I even got to meet her.
Wow.
She lived in Tallapoosa.
Wow.
And when I started teaching in '72, she was here in Cedartown. And she married a cab driver. Her last name, maiden name, was Brown. She married a Wilson, and then she married a Smith. Now, can you imagine researching that? But I had 5 siblings, and so I got to meet the majority of them. I've only got a few left, but everything that you've said about family and you know, talking about them and finding them, that was important. And so I found help and things like that. Now, when you look at spelling somebody's name, how many ways can spell be spelled?
I can only think of one other way. It can be spelled the English way, London, England, English way. It's Smythe.
Right.
Yeah. But once they came over here, they dropped it, they changed it.
So you've got, when you do this genealogy, you have got to think out of the box. Don't say, my maiden name was Booz, B-O-O-Z.
Wow.
And, all my relatives are from Cedartown. And then I was raised in Rome and then transplanted to Throckmorton College. So, there's history there. And you need to pay attention to the names. And like I said, think out of the box. The 1870 census, as everybody's been talking about, you had the names of the owners, you had the slaves, but you had no names for the slaves. All you knew was they were a male or female and their age. And one other thing about the 1870 census is a lot of times, census in general, you can't just say, okay, that's it. The census takers a lot of times didn't give a hoot.
Right.
And they just wrote it down however. I did when I researched in Bartow County, they used the initials. They didn't put down the name. They just used DL so-and-so or whatever. They misspelled it. So if you go, whatever you go on, Ancestry, Family Search, whatever you're using, go to the original census and look for yourself. Because you can, those who translate are not, they don't see it a lot of times, but you can make out these names. And you need to get used to the handwriting too. So that's another thing.
Miss Jane,
Yes, ma'am.
one other thing, if you weren't taught cursive writing,
Ma'am,
if you were not taught cursive writing,
right,
and were not taught how to read cursive writing,
we get it.
leave the census alone. Just leave it alone, okay? Because you won't be able to read it.
You'll learn.
You're right, you're right. I mean, take the S, for instance. It looks like an F and an F, and it's, it's S.
And different writers are gonna have different ways of doing it.
Yeah, you're right. And there are books out there that tell you, what you need, and explain it. The other thing is photographs. Collect the photographs. Anything that you can get your hands on. Where I was raised was where my daddy was raised, and there was a trunk full of stuff that I inherited. And it was my grandmother's on his side of the family. And you would not believe the photographs. They were in a woven basket. And so that's been an adventure, is tracing that and going through these photographs and trying to figure out who these people are. So that's another thing that you need to do. Any kinds of records that your family may have, you want to get hold of those. Death records, birth records, anything like that. Death records now and birth records are in probate. They used to be $10 to get one, but now they're $25. And so, you can get it from the state or you can get it from the county in which these people were born or died, but you're gonna have to fill out a long form to get a hold of those. Probate has, look up marriage records. A lot of the marriage records here in Polk County are like colored marriage records. They have those and they're separate. And even some of the county records have the bride's name. So you can look at the bride and and the groom too. So that's something that you need to do. Need to interview these people, pick their brains, you know, find out everything that you can about them. And organize this. Don't just think, oh, I'll remember this, because you won't.
No,
You won't. And write it down. Put it on paper. Document it. There are a lot of forms, and that's what I'll talk about after lunch, is I write a lot of research forms. But what I advise you to do is do it your way.
Yes.
How are you
Yes.
gonna keep up with it? Usually I'll just carry a notebook with me. And, you know, if you contact somebody, write it down. When did you contact them? How did you get a hold of them? What's their address? Things like that. That's what you want to do. And it's just a game of interview, document it, get it organized. If you want to, take, like an individual person. Let's take Sherry, for instance. All right, I'm gonna look up everything I can find on Sherry. And I'm gonna keep all that paperwork together. Maybe in a folder, in a 3-ring notebook, something along those lines. There are programs out there that you can get. I use Family Tree Maker, and it hooks up. I don't have a tree on Ancestry, but if you have a tree on Ancestry, and you've got Family Tree Maker, and you hook up to Ancestry, it will give you that green leaf that Sherry talked about. Ancestry has bought out Family Search now, so they're connected. I love Family Search because it's free. It is
We're
free.
gonna hook up on with it while we're here today.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you all logged into it.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of good things, and it will direct you to where these records are. It'll direct you like to My Heritage, which you gotta pay for. You gotta pay for Ancestry. But there's a lot of programs on there that you don't have to pay for. And I'll talk about that later. So if I am not a DNA person, I had mine done, but I don't know what to do with it. because my family that I grew up with is my family.
Amen.
Right.
Amen.
Not the biological ones.
Amen.
They're not mine.
That's right.
And there's just, you know, I mean, I'm glad I found them. I'm glad I know there wasn't anything dangerous health-wise or anything like that. But I'd like to know about my adoptive parents.
Right.
Just out of curiosity, how much does it cost to do that?
DNA on Ancestry now, they've got it cut down about $30-something. I think when I did it, it was about 60 or 70. And Ancestry now, what I call the full meal deal, is $409. I mean, it is expensive, but I have it because I do so much research, and I do it from the house. So, you know, that's something right there. Trying to get through this.
While you're looking, can I point out a couple of things here?
Yeah.
Okay, first thing I want to point out is when you're doing this research, you gotta be patient. Please be patient. Don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. Don't quit. Just sometimes you gotta put it aside and come back an hour later or maybe the next day. But it's going to require a lot of patience, especially for African, you're trying to research African American families. Although our families are intertwined, so don't be surprised when that pops up too. Also, prior to the 1870, there were no kind of records for us except for the slave masters' records. So you gotta try to go search. You might have to, if you know the family that your family came from, you research the family that they came from.
The enslavers.
Thank you, the enslavers. And then, even then, all you're gonna see are, female child born this date, so and so, and it normally has the estimated value. But some of the slave masters did allow our families to have Bibles. And so information are in Bibles, look in Bibles. Okay, and then finally, Sherry did a really great job when we started out about telling us, why you want to do genealogy. But I would encourage you, I would challenge you, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why is it important to me? What does it mean? Whatever terminology you want to use. And write that down somewhere. Ask yourself the question and write your answer down to that. Because some days you're going to need to come back and look at that and remind yourself, why are you doing this? It is very time consuming and it is expensive. Now we have better tools now than we did in 1996 when I started my journey. You get better help too. So I just wanted to add those.
Can I just add one more thing? One more thing. The other thing too that's important is y'all gotta share. You've got to share. First thing I would do, she called out some names, you picked up on those names, and wait a minute, I need to connect with this. There's some genealogy going on that's going to feed into your own genealogy. So talk to everybody, find out, and that's why stuff like this that we're doing right now, these stories, you get to hear something, wait a minute. That's part of my family. I might need to jump in on that one, okay? So when November comes, I'm gonna have 3 more new people I'm talking. So you better be able and ready to listen, okay?
I just want to ask, there's no ever any chance for you to find out about James, those 6 sons?
Well, I've searched every way I know. Now, they were, oh, you mean the 2 children that she lost?
Yeah. Well, when they're like,
Oh, the 6 of the
Yeah.
children. Well, yeah, we know about them. We just don't know anything about their father. He just disappeared one day. Any number of things. I started to go into that and then veered off. Any number of things could have happened to him. He could have just got fed up with farming and 6 kids and walked away. More than likely what we think happened is something violent happened to him and his body was disposed of. Because Jane Beatty and her first husband, Mr. Smith, they owned 100 acres of property in Coweta County, Georgia. Think about that. Around 1870, a black family having that much property. And there were always inquiries into buying the property. I'm not selling, we don't want to sell. We had 6 kids, so he just disappeared. We think something terrible happened to him. I ran into that brick wall Sherry was talking about with that. But now the 6 children that she had, that is a part of our family history. Most of you know the McCombs, the Smiths. The McCombs came out of that Smith family. So that's how I know I'm related to Forrest and Buford them.
Yeah.
They came from that Smith family. But we just don't know what happened to Mr. Smith.
I have a question.
interesting.
Okay, if you share your DNA with Ancestry, wouldn't it cross somewhere with one of those?
I've never done it.
Yeah.
But yes, it will. It'll go, your DNA will go into a database.
And they send you messages saying, this is your 3rd cousin or
Yeah.
whatever, and you can talk with them.
I have. Mrs. Smith.
I'm a little leery about the DNA.
I am too.
I'm a little leery because, yeah. I don't know. I'm a little leery about the DNA thing.
Yeah.
My daughter's gonna do it.
But it's another tool.
Yeah.
It's another tool that you can take it, you can do it, you can have it, and then at some point, you know, right now it might mean nothing to you. But 2 or 3 years as you're digging, because, and again, y'all, this is not a quick thing. This is something you'll probably be doing the rest of your life if you really get into it.
Well, it's quicker now.
It is quicker.
But you're sharing my DNA information.
Yeah. But DNA is one of the topics we're gonna talk about in November. Just a heads up. Don't be surprised if Dr. Sherry Garrett comes up in there in November and has already done the DNA. Yeah, Kathy?
You go first.
Okay. I'll go first. Yeah. There's,
I just wanted to say that I have a friend, and she has one brother only. She did the DNA, and she found a full sister by her mother and father way out on the West Coast that they didn't even know had been given up for
see,
adoption.
that's those are
So it
surprises
does,
I was
yeah.
talking about.
yeah, so it does work.
Yeah.
I personally done the DNA myself, and I was a little iffy about doing the DNA, but I have other people in my family that has done the DNA as well. So once I entered my DNA, I was able to see people that I know that I see at family reunions today that done the DNA and we actually met. And it does put like your first cousin, it do like your maternal or paternal grandfather.
You might be related to somebody's face.
Oh yeah, and I did actually find out that, and I don't know her name because I have a passion for writing. The lady that wrote Beloved, I'm actually related to her on my grandfather's side, and she was actually from Cartersville. So I did find that
So that's
out
better than
that
going to
through.
Louis Gates.
I found that out through DNA. So
And we just learned that we're related.
Yeah, we just found out we're cousins.
yeah.
I'll do this real
Okay, let her finish, because we got a whole bunch
I'll
going on
do
and
this
we want
real
to do lunch.
quick. There's a handout, it says my favorite websites. And I printed it out, and it's for African American research. And I did, highlight some of them. And I'll throw in a pitch. I'm in charge of the Polk County Cemetery Preservation website. We have gone out and photographed those cemeteries. They are online, and we've done the black cemeteries, and I'll talk about them after lunch. But there is Atlanta Funeral Programs Collection. It's online, and it's got some Polk County funeral programs in it. So there's 2 pages of websites that you can get. And I tried to put in a dollar mark if it's gonna cost you. And if it doesn't have that, then it shouldn't cost you anything to go on it.
Can I ask a question? I looked at that paperwork about the cemeteries, and I didn't see Simpson. Is Simpson a part of, who's the other part of Polk County?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we've been cleaning, we've done
Yes.
some cleanup work over at Simpson. And, I believe that's where, Sarah Murphy is buried.
Sarah Murphy.
Yeah, Sarah
Yeah.
Murphy is buried over there, yeah.
And
So
my
they've
mother-
done some major cleanup over there. Yeah.
Praise God. My mother, my brother,
Yeah,
and mother.
so keep your
my mother
eye out. I'm gonna make sure you get on the Cedar Hill or the Elm Street are you on Facebook?
Yes.
Good. I'm gonna get you on the Facebook with Cedar Hill or Elm Street, so you know whenever they're out there cleaning up, you'll find somebody that'll be out there that can guide you, so you can see how the cleanup is going, and you can take a look at the grave sites of your relatives.
And we have, through the cemetery preservation, we have gotten in touch with the social director or whatever at Murphy Harps. And he is all for getting into this now.
I am so glad to hear that.
So,
We
we're-
have tried.
We are working,
Great.
and I'll touch base on all of that later.
Okay, let's take a little